gonna sit on the phone with a woman that I know is cheating with my man. I'm just not gonna do that. Watching them interact and watching them have conversations is like watching her teach this woman how she wants them to operate. And I said that to her. I just really can't sit in a room with someone that will lie to my face.
They say secrets don't stay buried forever. And when they finally rise to the surface, they don't just shake your world, they shatter it. And that's exactly what just happened to Destiny Payton. What started as quiet whispers behind the scenes has now exploded into something no one can ignore. Fans thought they knew her story. They believed they understood her struggles, her pain, and her journey to rebuild after everything she had been through. But now, that story is being questioned in a way nobody expected.
For me, I hate to say this, but girl code is I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm gonna say it. It was okay when you felt like you were getting information.
It was okay.
And then for you to think that I would give him information, that's not girl code. So there was never that exchange because, again, he's a man.
Because this time, it didn't come from gossip pages or random rumors. It came from someone who was close enough to see everything clearly, Nell Fletcher. And when she finally spoke, she didn't hold back. She didn't sugarcoat. She didn't play into the drama. Instead, she brought something far more powerful, the truth.
Feel like, you know what? I need to go live, and I need to let all my supporters know that that's not true. Miss Nell don't roll like that. Miss Nell ain't playing no side chick for nobody, okay? That's just not how it go. And yeah, she's referring to Tisha K interview with Martell. No, I'm not referring to Tisha K interview with Martell. For those of you who know, I won't call no names and until I address it. Just stay tuned. Some of you.
And that truth, it's turning everything upside down. Fans are shocked. Friends are distancing themselves. And Destiny? She's now standing in the middle of a storm that's exposing more than just her image. It's revealing a side of her life she worked hard to keep hidden. But the real question is, how long had this been building? And what exactly did Nell reveal that has everyone looking at Destiny differently? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. For a long time, Destiny Payton built her identity around strength. She was the woman who survived heartbreak, public scrutiny, and personal loss. Her story connected with people because it felt real. She spoke about starting over, about picking up the pieces when everything falls apart, and about standing tall even when life tries to knock you down. Fans admired that. They saw her as relatable, someone who wasn't perfect but was trying her best to rebuild. And in a world where reality TV often feels fake, that kind of authenticity mattered. But behind that image, there were always questions. Little things at first, moments that didn't quite add up, conversations that felt slightly off. People started noticing how quickly narratives would shift whenever she was confronted. One minute she was open, the next she was guarded. One situation would be explained one way, and later it would somehow sound completely different. Still, many people gave her the benefit of the doubt. Because let's be real, life is messy. People make mistakes, and sometimes what looks like inconsistency is just someone trying to figure things out in real time. That's what fans believed. That's what her friends believed too, at least in the beginning. Even when relationships started to crack.
How y'all doing this morning?
Better than you.
I am here at...
What's that? What is that?
The Madison County Courthouse. About to turn myself in. And look who's always with me. My dad.
Okay.
My rider. Always. I hate this for him more than anything.
Me too.
Thing through it all is I've learned that I'm one of God's strongest soldiers.
Destiny always had a way of explaining things. She knew how to tell her side of the story in a way that made people pause. She could make you feel her pain, understand her perspective, and sometimes even question your own judgment. That's a powerful skill. But here's the thing about controlling the narrative. It only works until someone else knows the full story. And that's where Nell Fletcher comes in. Nell wasn't known for being loud or messy. She wasn't someone chasing attention or trying to insert herself into drama. If anything, she was the opposite, calm, observant, and careful about what she said. She watched more than she spoke, and because of that, people trusted her.
Now, there are some inconsistencies with Destiny and her mother, what she said about her mom on the show versus what she's saying on this platform. There are some inconsistencies about her being placed in group homes and her dad came to get her. Now, she told us her dad didn't get her until she was a teenager. She was angry at him. Her grandmother got her, and then her dad got custody of her, allegedly. Now, I believe her childhood, okay? But there are some inconsistencies because she has said more than twice, there are different stories that she's told. Now, when it comes to Martell Holt and Destiny and this LaBerrick situation, I don't know how LaBerrick is, okay? I don't.
So when her name started being connected to this situation, fans were curious, but not alarmed. At first, because no one expected her to be the one to pull the curtain back. But everything changed when she decided she had seen enough. It didn't happen overnight. According to people close to the situation, Nell had been watching things unfold quietly for a long time. She saw the tension, she heard the conversations, she noticed the patterns. And what stood out the most was how different things looked behind the scenes compared to what was being shown publicly. That's when the doubts started turning into certainty. But here's the twist. Nell didn't jump into the spotlight right away. She stayed silent, even as the drama grew, even as narratives were being shaped and reshaped, even as Destiny continued presenting her story in a way that kept sympathy on her side. Nell waited. And sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's preparation. Because when she finally spoke, she came with something nobody could ignore. Proof. Not vague statements, not emotional accusations, real conversations, real moments, real receipts that painted a completely different picture of who Destiny really was when the cameras weren't rolling. And the moment those details started coming out, everything changed. Fans who once defended Destiny began to pause. The same people who supported her started asking questions, because the version of events Nell was describing didn't match the image Destiny had worked so hard to build. According to Nell, Destiny wasn't just misunderstood, she was strategic. She allegedly moved differently behind closed doors. Conversations that seemed supportive on the surface were, according to Nell, layered with something else entirely. There were claims that Destiny would say one thing in private and something completely different in public. And that alone was enough to shake people. But it didn't stop there. What nobody expected was how deep it went. Nell revealed that there were moments where Destiny allegedly played multiple sides at once, keeping relationships intact on the surface while quietly stirring tension behind the scenes. Small comments here, subtle shifts there, just enough to create confusion, but not enough to be easily traced back. It was calculated, and that's what made it so shocking, because this wasn't just messy reality TV drama. This felt intentional. As more details surfaced, fans started revisiting old episodes. Scenes that once seemed harmless now felt different. Conversations that looked emotional suddenly appeared rehearsed. Even moments of vulnerability started being questioned. Was it real, or was it part of a bigger strategy? that uncertainty spread fast. Social media exploded with reactions. Some people refused to believe it, holding on to the version of Destiny they had supported for so long. Others felt betrayed, like they had been rooting for someone who wasn't being completely honest. And right in the middle of all that, Destiny went quiet. No clear explanation, no detailed response, just silence mixed with vague messages that didn't really address what was being said. And that silence, it only made things louder. Because when serious claims are being made, people expect clarity. They expect accountability. They expect something that feels real. But instead, everything felt distant. And that's when the situation started to spiral. More voices began to speak up, not loudly, but enough to add weight to what Nell had already revealed. Little confirmations, subtle agreements, hints that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't an isolated perspective. It was a pattern, and patterns are hard to ignore. Even within her circle, the shift was noticeable. Relationships that once seemed strong started to look strained. Interactions became more cautious. The energy changed. It was like watching someone slowly lose control of a story they had carefully built. And the hardest part? It didn't happen all at once. It happened piece by piece. One revelation led to another. One question opened the door to more doubts. And before long, the image Destiny had created began to crack in ways that couldn't be easily fixed. But beyond the drama, beyond the headlines, there was something deeper happening. Because this wasn't just about reputation, it was about trust. And trust, once broken, doesn't come back easily. For someone like Destiny, who built her platform on relatability and strength, this kind of exposure hits differently. It's not just about what people think, it's about how they feel. And right now, a lot of people feel conflicted. Some still believe in her. They think there's more to the story, that maybe things aren't as one-sided as they seem. Others feel disappointed, not because she's human, but because they feel like they were misled. That emotional divide is real, and it's heavy, because at the end of the day, people don't just watch these stories. They invest in them, they connect, they care. And when that connection feels broken, it leaves a mark. For Destiny, this moment could be a turning point. Not just in her career, but in how she chooses to move forward. Because here's the truth, nobody is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has moments they wish they could take back. But what defines you isn't the mistake, it's how you handle it when it comes to light.
Right now, she's standing at a crossroads. She can continue to protect the image, hoping things fade with time. Or she can face the situation head on, acknowledge what needs to be acknowledged, and rebuild from a place that's real. That choice matters, because people can forgive, they can understand, but only when they feel honesty. As for Nell Fletcher, her role in all of this has changed how people see her too. She didn't come across as someone chasing drama. She seemed calm, steady, and certain, and that made her words carry more weight. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who sees everything, and when they finally speak, people listen. This situation has become bigger than just one fallout. It's a reminder of how quickly things can shift when the truth comes into play. It's a lesson in how fragile reputation can be when it's built on anything less than authenticity. And most importantly, it's a moment that shows how powerful transparency really is. Because no matter how carefully a story is told, the truth always finds its way through. Right now, everything is still unfolding. Nothing feels completely settled. Questions are still hanging in the air, and people are still trying to figure out what to believe. But one thing is clear, this isn't the end of the story.
If anything, it's just the beginning of a much deeper chapter. And whether Destiny rises from this or falls further depends on what she does next. Because when the spotlight fades and the noise quiets down, what remains isn't the drama, it's the truth and the choices made after it's revealed.